and thank you for joining me on the show today. This is the Now Talks, a collection of inspiring personal stories and leadership lessons from some of the world's most iconic leaders. It is the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. My name is Dr. Tina Allton, and I'm your host for today and the coming weeks. Welcome again to another edition. So this week I was reading, I've just been going through my emails and, clearing a number of emails from my inbox. And I came across an email that I'd received way back. I don't know how many months now. I think it was sometime back in the summer from someone I normally listen to and have been lucky enough to, taking a few of their training, etc., and they bounce. And he was asking actually a question, can anybody be even more successful? Can you be even any more XYZ? You fill in the blank. And so there was this question, there was a few questions that he had asked, and I'm going to share those questions with us. And then we're going to flip it and see how perhaps, we're now in November, coming up to December. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe you set some goals early in the year that you haven't quite achieved those goals yet. I don't know. Or perhaps, you're looking at, well, another year is almost around the corner. What am I going to do? Because maybe you achieved all your goals. That might also be the case. I don't know. But we're going to hopefully walk through this exercise together, and then we're going to see how much, which side of the scale we're in. So number one, here's the question. Number one is, can you improve your work-life balance? And each of these questions, by the way, you have to start with the answer no, because, and then you fill in the blank. So can you improve your work-life balance? No, because ... Can you free up at least 3 hours a week by changing your diary? No, because ... Can you praise people more than you do? No, because ... Now, what really got me or was striking for me is that when we start, the answers with no, because, it becomes so easy to find reasons why you can't actually achieve something, why you can't actually do something, right? Now, we're going to try the same questions again, but this time you're going to answer it with the, with the start yes, if. Okay, so previously it was no, because. Now we're going to do yes, if. So the questions again, can you improve your work-life balance? Yes, if ... Next question, can you free up at least 3 hours a week by changing your diary? Yes, if ... Can you praise people more than you do? Yes, if ... Now, what I said in the beginning that, what really struck me was the fact that when we start with the yes, if, it was actually quite more empowering, and it allowed, my own brain to now be looking for enablers and not reasons or blockers, if you will. I found that you were more optimistic about your ability or capability or even willingness to actually do that. So here is a question. Can you enjoy your life even more than you do now? Can you have more fun at home, more fun at work? Yes, if, right? But the moment you put no, because, you immediately go looking for reasons why. So I think it's very important then to look at, the power of yes and no, and how actually that impacts everything that we do or we don't do, that impact our vision, our goals, our purpose in life, right? So it's absolutely no-brainer. The world is filled with constant distractions, endless choices. But yet still, I believe that a yes and a no should not be underestimated. And it's in simple things like, do you pick up your smartphone first thing in the morning? Or maybe in the middle of your day, do you actually focus on a specific task? Or do you actually, get ruled by, either saying yes, 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 or saying no, no, no? And these two words, although they're very, I think we take them for granted all the time, but they have a significant impact on our ability actually to see, to see things clearly, to see our vision, to focus on our vision, and even most important, to make informed choices. Our lives are constantly being shaped by the choices we make. In fact, we all, each one of us, we are the sum of the decisions and the choices that we have made, right? And I think I can't remember, but it may have been Pastor Jay on one of the Sundays talked about the fact that the quality of your life is the total of the decisions that you make. And so our lives are hugely shaped by the choices we make, the words we use to express those choices that hold a lot of weight. So when we say yes to something, we're actually affirming our commitment. We're actually embracing the opportunity that presents. Conversely, or equally, when we say no, we're actually setting boundaries and prioritizing our time, ourselves. And therefore, the simplicity of these words can sometimes deceive us into thinking that they have little consequences. However, the truth is that our decisions, whether we're conscious or unconscious, they have a profound impact on every aspect of our lives. By examining, maybe your relationships, or your relationship with yes and no, you can actually begin to unlock the power within each of these and help you to regain control over whatever vision or goal or whatever it is that you have purposed, for yourself, either in this year or maybe you're looking forward to the year ahead. Now, you might think, okay, today is I don't know, whatever date you're listening to, and we're very, very almost at the end of the year, but yes, still, you still have time to achieve something, right? So I want us now to look at the impact of a yes and no on our lives. How does this actually impact us? Saying yes to everything, sometimes it might look like an admirable trait, or it's quite it's an admirable thing to do. However, it also demonstrates a willingness to embrace, um no, let me rephrase. Sometimes saying yes to everything may seem like an admirable trait because it demonstrates our willingness to embrace maybe new experiences, new opportunities. However, I want to emphasize the fact that saying yes to everything can become a habit that can quickly turn into people pleasing, and it can actually rob you of your own self, of your own goals, of your vision, if all the time you're constantly saying yes without carefully considering. You actually could risk losing, sight of what truly matters to you, or on the other hand, saying no can sometimes be challenging because it requires us to set boundaries. It requires us to prioritize our time, and sometimes actually may disappoint others. And the fear of rejection and the guilt associated with saying no or setting boundaries can then create a barrier to making choices that actually align with our vision. So for you to examine these emotional or psychological aspects, can help you to better understand the implications of your choices and how they affect the entire perception of the world that is around us, right? It's very important as well. Saying yes to everything can lead to the danger of people pleasing. And I think it's fair to say many of us are falling into the trap of pleasing people, saying yes to every request that comes our way. While this, it might seem like it's a noble way to build relationship and avoid conflict, but it often comes at a great cost of our own well-being. right? So if you say yes to everything, it really can cost you your entire well-being. When you're constantly saying yes to others, you're neglecting your own needs. Your vision can become clouded by the expectations and demands of others, leaving you with very little room for personal growth and any fulfillment. And then people pleasing tendency can also lead to burnout and resentment, because you're like stretching yourself thin and trying to meet everybody's expectation. And meeting everybody's expectation really is the worst thing that you can actually ever do to yourself. So it's very important to mention here as well that to actually break free from the habit of people pleasing does require a shift in your mindset. It does require a shift in your own mindset. And it involves the ability to recognize that your time, your energy, these are valuable resources that should be allocated according to your own priorities and your vision. By learning to say no when necessary, you can actually reclaim your power. You can create a space for the things that truly, truly matters to you. There is an art, though, to saying no. And that really is more or less about setting boundaries and prioritizing. Saying no, it is true. It can be uncomfortable, especially when it involves disappointing others, right? However, setting boundaries and prioritizing your time and energy is essential for maintaining clarity in your life. It helps you to live a purposeful life. Setting boundaries starts with really, you have to understand what are my own values and priorities. When you don't have a clear vision of what you want to achieve for yourself, of what is important to you, right? When you have a clear vision of what is important to you, or what you want to achieve, it becomes easy to say no. But the opposite is equally true. When you don't have a very clear vision of what matters to you, what is important to you, what are you called to do, what are what are you here for, etc., etc., then you become prone to saying yes and living up to everybody's expectations. You have to learn to say no to things that don't align with your goals. It's very essential, so important to communicate our boundaries clearly and assertively without feeling the need to justify or apologizing for your choices. Prioritizing is another crucial aspect of saying no. We need to evaluate the opportunities and the requests that come our way and determine whether they align with our visions and goals. Right? So, pardon me. Again, it comes back to being very, very clear on what is important to you. Because when it's important to you, then you're able to, say no if something is not in alignment with what you're called to do. Because oftentimes it may be distractions, or it can lead to things that distract you and take you away from what truly, truly matters. Now, why do people often have a fear of saying no? This is because I think, from speaking as a psychologist, it comes from a place of guilt and rejection, right? We're afraid of saying no because we don't want to. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to hurt people. We don't want to feel guilty, or we don't want to be rejected, right? But this is all about learning. We're learning together and becoming better and better and better every day, especially as leaders. So one of the primary reasons many people struggle saying no, it really is the fear of rejection and the guilt associated with disappointing others. However, I think I've said this enough times. It is so essential to recognize that saying no is not a personal attack, or is not a rejection of the person making that request. And so overcoming that fear of saying no starts with, again, understanding that your time They are finite resources. We all have 24 hours in the day, right? I don't have 23. I don't have 27. You don't have 28. Joe Bloggs doesn't have 30. We all have the same number of hours per day. And so you cannot be everything to everyone. And that's equally okay. That's perfectly okay. It's so important, especially as leaders, to prioritize our own well-being and vision over the expectations of others. And you've got to model that for your team and model that for the people you're called to lead, people you're called to serve. Additionally, reframing our perspective, because often it's our perspective that creates the guilt or the shame or the fear of rejection. So we have to reframe our perspective on saying no, and that can actually help to alleviate the guilt. And so instead of focusing on what we are saying no to, for example, you can shift your attention to what are you saying yes to? Because whenever you say no to something, it's an opportunity to say yes to something. And whenever you say yes to something you shouldn't be saying yes to, guess what? You've lost the opportunity because now you're saying no to something that you should have actually said yes to. And so by saying no to activities and requests or things that don't align with our vision, you're saying yes to your own growth. You're saying yes to your well-being. You're saying yes to being fulfilled. And also I want to share, how does saying yes impact our vision, our goal? Our choices are all shaped by our reality. The habit of mindlessly saying yes or no can have a significant impact on your vision, your goals. When you say yes to every opportunity that comes your way, you risk diluting your focus and spreading yourself too thin. Your vision can become very fragmented, and you may struggle to make progress towards your goals. On the other hand, when we say no, when we set boundaries, when we, know that something is not in alignment with our goals, our vision, it allows us to prioritize and focus on the things that matter. It also enables you to align your choices with your vision, creating a clearer pathway towards your goals. And so, by carefully considering each opportunity and evaluating its alignment with our vision, right? Because that's what we've got to do. You've got to take every opportunity that comes and evaluate that against in alignment with your vision, right? Then now you can make choices that really truly propel you forward in your vision. Therefore, it's very important to align our choices with our vision. It's essential for living a fulfilling, purposeful life. When we say yes to everything or no, it's a risk, and that can be drifting away from a true something that is true. Or something that really isn't true, where we can be distracted or we can pull into focus. So once we begin to align our choices, the choice of saying yes or choice of saying no with your vision, then you're more or less in that place of actually, being able to say that I actually understand my values, my passion, what's my long-term aspirations. When we have a clear understanding of these things, then it becomes easier to make the choices that support our vision, the choice of saying yes or the choice of saying no, right? And so how then? I want us to wrap up with some strategies for making those choices, and it comes down to being intentional, right? So when we're intentional, being fully present in the morning, in the moment, not morning, in the moment, observe your thoughts and emotions. I think I've done, there is a podcast on this already on how to really be in the moment, how to take control of our emotions and perspective and thoughts, etc. It helps you to become aware of any patterns, anything that is actually probably influencing your choices. So again, being mindful of our emotions, the patterns, etc., etc., we're able to identify what really is influencing our choices. Finally, it's important to seek support from others. Pardon me. That can help us, in being able to gain even more clarity on our vision. But most importantly, it provides us with accountability. And also when we seek support from others, we're able to gain different perspectives that can often more or less help to broaden your understanding, and that ultimately also helps you in making better choices in what you say yes to, what you say no to, right? When you say no, it helps you in being able to be more productive, right? In being productive. It helps you to create space for rest, rejuvenation, nourishment. You don't burn out, because we talked about the fact that every time you're saying yes, 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 just throwing out yes, 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 yes to everything can actually lead to burnout. And so one of the benefits of saying no is that it helps you to avoid burnout. It helps you to be more productive, and it helps you to be sharp as well. Again, we have to recognize the fact that there is a huge power in yes or no, and our ability to fulfill our life's purpose, right? So if we understand the implications of our choices, learning to use yes and no mindfully, you are able to reclaim not just time, but reclaim your vision. You can make choices and decisions that are really, truly aligned. So whether it's in setting boundaries, overcoming the fear of rejection, or aligning our choices with our vision, it's so important that we embrace the power of yes and no, and that can lead us towards a fulfilling and purposeful life. So the next time you find yourself at a crossroad, I don't know why my tongue is twisted today. So the next time you find yourself at a crossroads, remember the power of yes and no, and always choose with intention. Until we come your way next time, remember, every yes and every no must be chosen with great intention, because it can become a distraction, or it can help you to focus on what really matters. Take care and see you next time. And that's all for this week. You've been listening to Dr. Tina Allton with the Now Talks, the weekly podcast for women in leadership, brought to you by Nations of Women. All that remains is for me to say have a fantastic week, stay safe, and reach out if you need any help now at nationsofwomen.com. Until next time, enjoy the pursuit of your potential, and remember, now is your time.